Hey, family. Tonight's quick 10-minute workshop is titled, Will White Men Ever Reconcile the Harsh Treatment of Black People Throughout History and Today? And the reason I did this study is because of all the responses I got from my earlier video when I asked you all, do you think you can truly trust and be friends, true friends, with a white person if you're black? So let's just jump into this, y'all. The question of whether white men will ever fully acknowledge and reconcile the historical and present day mistreatment of black people is very complex. We know that, right? While some white men have taken steps toward accountability, systemic racism, white supremacy, and generational privilege make true reconciliation extremely difficult. So I'm going to break this down by looking into the historical patterns. I'm going to touch on modern resistance to accountability and whether true justice is possible. But of course, let's start with the foundation of this, guys. We got to start first with the historical denial, a pattern of avoidance. Throughout history, we know that white men have largely avoided accountability for their role in racial oppression. Let's first, and when I say men, I'm talking about exactly that, just men, not mankind, but white males. So let's talk about with slavery. After centuries of enslaving black people, many white men did not acknowledge the humanity of black people even after emancipation. Instead, they created, like I told you all, black codes, sharecropping, and Jim Crow laws to maintain control. They also had lynchings and racial violence. Lynchings, race massacres like Tulsa and Rosewood massacres, and anti black terrorism were carried out by white men with no accountability whatsoever, no consequences. Let's talk about how in the civil rights movement, while some white men supported black liberation, most fought against it or remain silent as others did, which makes them just as complicit as not saying anything at all. Let me give you an example. After slavery ended, white men still control the economy, government, and police to keep black people oppressed. So why does this still matter today? It matters today, y'all, because white men have historically refused to acknowledge their role in black suffering and instead defended or ignored racist systems. To this day, if you want to get a large majority of white men mad, talk about slavery. And one of the first things they're going to say, you need to get over it. Number two, the white men's resistance to acknowledging racism today. Okay. Even in modern times, many white men refuse to admit systemic racism still exists. Let me tell you some quotes that they'll say. Okay. And you tell me if you ever heard these, if you're talking to a white person or white folk, you tell me if you have ever said these or heard family members say it. Number one, slavery was a long time ago. Many white men downplay the past and act like racism ended when Martin Luther King. That's why they love Dr. King. They love him back there because his nonviolent approach, but they scared to talk about Malcolm X. All right, next. I never owned slaves, so why should I feel guilty? Again, ignoring generational privilege and how the system still benefits them to this day. What about this one, y'all? All lives matter. That was just used as black lash against Black Lives Matters and showing their refusal to acknowledge racism. It's just a refusal. You just don't want to admit it that it happened. Here's another one. Affirmative action is unfair. Many white men resent racial progress because it challenges their dominance. So let me give you an example of this. The backlash against critical race theory in schools shows how many white men fear historical truths. Let me tell you something. The most craziest thing is when a lot of these people who were against critical race theory were like, we don't want certain things taught in schools because it will traumatize our young white children. Yeah, young white children out here playing Fortnite at the age of 8, watching movies with demons and killing and murdering, but you don't want them to know about real history? Stop playing with me. Your children are not that fragile. What it is you don't want your white children and your white grandchildren to ask you, Papa, Mama, why did why did white people treat blacks like that? See, that's the problem. You're taking it on as if you enslaved people. So that tells me you still have some unfinished work to do on yourself regarding race relations. Because if you are free from racism, you don't mind talking about it. When you're free from something, you don't mind talking about it. I don't mind talking about my first marriage because I'm healed from it. You understand? When you're healed from something, you can talk about it. All right, next question. Will white men ever truly make amends? Some are trying, but it's still not enough, y'all. There are white men who actively fight against racism, but they are often the minority. It's a small few. Some white men are allies in activism, politics, and education, even in religion. Some acknowledge their privilege and try to support Black communities, and some advocate for reparations, police reform, and criminal justice. I'll give you an example. White activists like John Brown, who fought against slavery, and modern allies in Black Lives Matter protests show that not all white men are resistant to change. But most white men only change when they are forced to. And history shows this. History shows that white men rarely give up power voluntarily. Let's talk about it. The Civil War. Had it not been fought to end slavery, we'd still be slaves today. The Civil Rights Movement forced legal change through protest and pressure. George Floyd's murder only led to reform because of mass uprising. The U.S. government only passed civil rights laws after years of Black resistance. So, what does this mean? White men only reconcile racism when they have no other choice, when they're forced to acquiesce. But even in then, it's in action, but it's not in their heart. So, what needs to happen for true reconciliation? For white men to fully reconcile, they need to take some action, not just feel bad about racism. Acknowledge systemic racism. Stop denying history and modern inequality. Just face it, it's right here in your face. Support reparations, economic justice for centuries of stolen labor and oppression. Put your money where your mouth is. You owe us. Challenge other white men. White men, you got to stop ignoring racist family members, friends, co workers. Step aside in positions of power. Some of y'all old farts in Congress, you know damn well you told it was a shame that Strom Thurmond stayed in as a politician as long as he did until he died. And he was a racist son of a bitch. Racist. Stop ignoring. Oh no, I'm sorry. Okay, allow Black voices to lead now. It's time. You're old. You're decrepit. Stop using performative allyship. We don't need no more meaningless apologies or fake activism. Let me give you an example. Germany fully acknowledged the Holocaust and they paid reparations to Jewish victims. The U.S. has yet to even apologize for slavery. Mm. Do you know what would happen in the spiritual realm if white people actually had a spirit of reconciliation on behalf of their ancestors? Do you know how God, the glory of God could fill the earth because there would be, when you ask for forgiveness, that's a spirit. Love is a spirit, just like hate is a spirit. Final. Will it ever happen? Well, some white men will change, but most will resist until they're forced to. Black people don't need white men to reconcile. We need them to step aside and stop being the barrier to justice. If you don't want to reconcile, just step aside. We got it. So, my final call of action to you, do you think white men will ever take accountability for racism? I want you to drop your thoughts and let me know. Leave it in the comments. Do you really think, or do you just think they're going to just go to their grave denying the inevitable? It's unfortunate that the U.S. can't do how Germany did and fully acknowledge the Holocaust and pay reparations to the Jewish victims. America just won't do it. America's heart is hardened just like Pharaoh's, and it's going to take a whole lot of plagues. It's going to take a lot of punishment on these white folk before they turn and say, okay, God, what must I do? So thank you all so much. If this teaching blessed you, I like giving 10-minute educational workshops because I hope and pray that this opens the eyes to some white folk. If you're doing the work, white folk, congratulations, continue to do it. Black folk, I hope and pray that this is just showing you that, hey, um, we got to just keep moving forward, regardless of if they reconcile or not with us. We're going to keep doing like our grandpa, mama, and grandfather told us to. Keep on keeping on, baby. You understand? So until then, I'll talk to you soon. Be blessed. Continue to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comment. Let me know. Do you think white men will ever take full accountability for racism? And again, hey, buy a sister some coffee if you like my teachings. Love you. Bye.